How do you view your bench in the early part of camp right now and the decisions that you have to make as you get it further into spring training?
Well, I guess my view of it is they're all going to get opportunities, right? I mean, a lot of the decisions are going to be in the outfield, and they're going to rotate through there. You know, the guys that we've talked about, Prado, Waters, Weimer, Velasquez. Leave somebody out, I'm sure, when I start trying to name people, but, you know, they're all going to get opportunities. Sometimes they're going to be coming off the bench. Sometimes they're going to be starting. You know, they're going to play early on pretty much every other day. Some guys will go back-to-back, but guys are going to get at bats and see what they can do.
What sort of decisions do you have to make about that group of guys for you to decide who best fits?
There's all kinds of factors, right? Some guys are out of options, some guys have options, some guys have speed, some guys are more power, some guys are defense. So there's a lot of factors to, you know, and how all 13 guys complement each other, not just who the best hitters are or who the best defenders are. We got to see how that puts the best team together.
Is there one way that you're leaning right now in terms of like speed or power?
No, I mean, I think we're open to everything, you know. I mean, there's really no sense in trying to jump to any sort of conclusion now. We haven't played one game. Things are going to happen, right? Hopefully not, but usually injuries are a part of it. Performance is definitely a part of it. You know, there's just all kinds of factors. So there's no sense in, let's just let the guys get out there and play.
India's in left field for the game today. What sort of things are you looking for as far as his comfortability out there at that position?
Well, comfort, yeah. I mean, he's got to get reps. He's got to see balls off the bat. He's got to chase balls down. He's got to hit cutoff men and everything you got to do in the outfield and just getting game reps.
Is it tougher in Arizona than Kansas City outfield?
I mean, I think it depends on the day. I mean, you always hear about high sky here, but there's plenty of days in Kansas City where there's no clouds and, you know, during a day game. But I mean, the ball carries really well here. It's a big park. Our park is big here. I mean, the ball does carry more than Kauffman, but it's as close as you can get to the dimensions of our park in Kansas City.
There's a lot of interest and excitement around Caglione back in Kansas City. I was wondering what your messaging to him is and handling those expectations, if there is.
Yeah, I mean, I think I mentioned yesterday, like I am. To me, I'm not saying much to Jack. There's plenty of people to say stuff to him. He understands he's in his first big league camp. You know, he understands that everything's been communicated to him through Mitch Meyer and JJ and those guys. And so I just want him to enjoy himself and go out there and get his at-bats, calm the nerves down, and just play.
What are you hoping to see out of Noah Cameron today, too?
Yeah, it'll be the first time I get to see him live, so I'm interested. You know, I've heard so many good things about him, watch him throw his bullpens and lives. He certainly has done a good job so far, and I'm just interested to see him compete.
What are some of the good things that you hear just about him throughout the minor leagues and last year in AAA?
Well, the first thing most people mention is his changeup and the command of it, and how many, you know, he can use it at any time. He looks like he's developed a nice cutter as well, locates his fastball well. He's got good composure, he's physical, so there are a lot of good things.
You mentioned coming in that both guys would be here, see him walking around. Did you have a relationship with him? And what are you hoping that he can bring to the team?
I had no relationship with him, you know, and as we went through and talked about, you know, with Davey and JJ and everybody, and even with Salvi, like guys that they would want to be back these last couple of years, his name kept coming up. Unfortunately, last year we couldn't figure out the timing, you know, for him and his personal life and stuff, but more than anything, all you hear about him is the teammate and the personality in the clubhouse, and that's really what we're hoping for from any of the guys that come back, is just, you know, to show guys what their demeanor is and how they care about each other and how they cared about their teammates at that point. You know, they're not here to work on grips and deliveries or swings and that kind of stuff, but it's more of a resource and just and it's also, we value what they meant to the organization and that history, that tie to those great years they had. You know, and I think that's really important. And for him, for Eddie in particular, you know, being bilingual and being able to influence some of the pitchers and just share his experiences, that's all we're really looking for.
I know the guys from the 70s and 80s have been coming back for years, but last year you saw the 2014, this year. What's the genesis of all that?
Well, the Royals Hall of Famers have always had a week, as far as to my knowledge, and that's incredible. Like, those are the guys that I grew up watching and had respect for and understood how good they were. But this next generation coming back, I mean, I think it ties the successful years. But like I just said, those guys are more than what their stats are on a baseball card. They're great people. They're great teammates. They bring that energy that I think the city thrives on. The organization really revels in their accomplishments. And I think for our guys that are, significantly younger than me, the players that didn't know the guys in the 70s and 80s, these are the guys they watched as they grew up. And some of our guys even played with or against some of these guys. So I think just tying that more recent history together is really important.
With that thought, did you bring that to the table? Did that start with JJ?
I mean, I think we talked about it. I honestly can't tell you who the first person that had the idea was. I think, you see in different camps it's done different ways. And, I think last year getting Shieldsy back here and Wade and Greg Holland, that was a really great start. And I think they like it. So I can't tell you who had the first thought, but between Davey and myself, and we involve Salvi for sure. I mean, he's a huge part of what was done here as well. And just talking through it and coming up with names. And there's plenty of names we've reached out to that just can't do it. Family obligations, work, whatever the case is. But by and large, these guys really are excited to come back.
Do you think the players embrace it too? The players that you have?
I hope so. Yeah, I mean, the feedback last year was great. Even from like veteran guys like Will Smith and those guys, he really enjoyed having those guys around. And so I would imagine the young guys do as well. And I hope they feel comfortable enough to go up and talk to them. But that's why the personality is important too, so that Volquez will make that easier.
You interested in just seeing how the ABS plays out in the game today, just from your perspective as a manager?
Yeah, I'm interested to see what happens. Yeah, I mean, I'm guessing it'll come up a couple times, but if it doesn't, I'm sure it will at some point here.
Is there any concern or expectation that guys are going to naturally adjust to ABS for the spring, or to have that go away for the regular season and have to readjust back to what normally is?
I'll be honest, I have not given it that much thought. That's much more in-depth concept than I've thought about. But I mean, you got guys that come up to the big leagues from AAA. They've had to make those adjustments and go back down and readjust. And even in AAA, they've had the half a week is one thing, half a week is the other. So, I mean, I don't think it's going to be that drastic. You're talking about guys are going to get 50-ish at bats. The regular guys will get 50-ish at bats, and not all of them will have that. So I don't think it's going to be too drastic.
Have you talked to your pitchers and catchers about it at all? Or are you kind of letting them lead what they want to do?
No, we talked about it. Yeah, I mean, we didn't lay out some type of strategy for them, but they are aware of it. They're aware of the mechanics. They know that it's part of what we're doing.
I guess the guys in AAA may use it more just because they're used to it than the guys in the majors.
I don't know. I mean, India might lead off the game and use it. I have no idea. But we're not saying like don't do it in this inning, or I mean, if it comes up, it comes up. That's not something that we're gonna.
Does it have an impact at all on how you evaluate guys drawing walks or taking strikeouts, both as hitters or pitchers, walking guys or not, or striking out?
Again, I have not put that much thought into the ABS. I mean, today will be day one. If something really becomes prevalent over these couple days that we really need to evaluate differently or not, then we'll adjust. But I have not put that much thought into it.